Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Vanessa Milagros, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the 8 things that I wish I knew sooner as a mental health therapist. So let's get started. Number 1, I wish that I would have been told very clearly and maybe several times to make sure that I set clear boundaries from the start. As therapists, most of us get into the field to help people, to be there, to support. And it's difficult to navigate how to support and when to stop supporting. Therefore, I wish somebody would have laid out a few of the things that I'm going to lay out for you. The first is to remember that if you are not well, you can't help anybody else. And I'm sure you've heard that, but it needs to be repeated. If you are not at your best, if you are not able to process information, to sit with clients, to be able to navigate the business side of therapy, which I'll get to a little bit later, if you're not able to do that, then you're not going to be as effective. And at that point, you're just like a robot, really going through the motions. So being able to remember that you have to set clear boundaries from the start, as difficult as it may be, it's important to do so because what happens is you say, here's the line and here's where I won't go past. It helps you and it helps your clients. It helps the people that you're in business with, the people that you work for in the future, the people that you work with. Most importantly, it helps you to not overextend yourself. We want to do so many things, help so many people, get so much training, do all of these things that not every 24-hour period is going to allow you to be able to do all the things that you want to do and sleep and eat and spend time by yourself with yourself. It just is not always possible. And so making room to know this is where I'm going to set my hours to work. This is what I'm going to dedicate it to, but this is where I'm going to stop work. What does that actually look like? Does it look like you shutting off your notifications from work? Does it look like you having a separate work phone and a separate personal phone? You have to navigate those things within yourself, but I want you to get very specific on how you're going to set your boundaries and how you're going to keep them. You do with clients, with the work that you do if you're going to be in private practice or if you're going to be a business owner within this field, if you're going to be a professor, a researcher, no matter what it is you do in this field, how is it that you're going to set those clear boundaries that make sense for you and the lifestyle that you want to live? Number 2, I wish that somebody would have told me that it gets lonely out here for therapists, specifically for those in private practice. There are things that if you're not doing with a partner or a group of people, you're going to do it alone. Therefore, it's important to make sure that you're going to be okay with understanding that if you're in the business aspect of things and you don't have a business partner, or if you're not working with coworkers, it's going to get lonely. So how are you going to mitigate that? When are you going to make time to see your friends, your family, the people that fill you, and you do the same for them? Because it does get lonely. And if you get too wrapped up in your work, you're going to forget that you're also a human being who needs other human beings, right? We were created to be with and connect with others. So don't forget that part. And don't think that you have to neglect that part either in order to be successful, because you don't. Now, I'm not just going to tell you that and not give you examples that you can actually use. So let's talk about a few of those. The first thing that you can do is sign up for different associations based on whatever field you're in. So American Counseling Association, American Psychological Association. There's so many different associations that you can find that are national based, but also ones that are state based, that are specific to your state. Some even have county-wide Facebook groups. There's so many therapy Facebook groups that you can find one near you. Join that way. You'll find news about what's going on around you within your city or within your county. Go to some of those events, support some of your peers, and get to know some of your peers. Remember, you'll learn things by speaking with people that are in your field, but you may come to find that they're doing something totally different from you, and you can learn from that. But also, you can create referral systems for your other peers. If a client comes to you and you can't help them, you've already got someone in mind that you know, hey, this person is my colleague. I know they specialize in this, and I know they'll be able to help you. Also, if your family and close friends don't always want to hear about different mental health topics, you have other peers to speak about it with. I think when we're going to school for this, we are surrounded with like-minded individuals, yes, on some level. But when we leave school, it can be a little bit different if we're not with coworkers or if you're running your business on your own. So making sure to get out there when you can is going to be really helpful. And if you're the type of person that says, you know what, I actually don't want to have to talk about anything mental health related when I am clocked out, that's my boundary. If you say that, perfect. Make sure you're spending time with people who fill your cup in different ways. What are your hobbies? What are the things that you like to do? If you don't have any, write down a list of things that you may want to try. You may never know. You may end up enjoying it. It may become a new hobby for you, and it may give you that time to step back from the mental health and therapy world and just be, because we all need that. The third piece of advice that I want to leave you with that I wish somebody would have said to me repeatedly was that you will feel like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. I'm not as smart as these people. I'm not as trained as these people. Everybody else knows more than me. Those thoughts are going to come up. But honestly, I'm going to tell you that I think it's good to have those thoughts sometimes. And the reason why I say that is because I would hope that we wouldn't be so full of ourselves that we would just think that, oh, we've got it all figured out. We know all the answers. Nobody's better than us. No, we're going to have doubts. We're humans. There are areas where we lack. There are areas that are growth areas for us. There are areas that are our strengths. So being able to have an honest look with ourselves and say, what is it that I feel like I am lacking in? What is that area? Is it feeling like I don't have enough training in certain areas? Let's look up some trainings and see which ones are feasible for you to do at this point within your journey. If it's that you don't feel as though you're equipped to help clients, let's dig deeper into that. Can you do your own personal therapy to reflect on why that is? So, although I do believe that imposter syndrome, although it's not a real diagnosis, it will always be a thing for a lot of us. I think it's still important to make sure that we try to mitigate as much as possible while still understanding that there are going to be times that you're going to feel like, I'm not smarter than these people. Everybody knows what they're talking about. I'm the only one that's lost here. I used to feel that way in school. Of course, it's completely normal. And then when I would talk to other people about it, guess what? During their conversation, those things would come out of, I just don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm prepared. I don't know if we all have that level of fear, of not knowing, of believing that everybody knows better than we do. But at the end of the day, we're all human. There are areas where we're just not going to have that strength or that particular gift in. And that's okay. What are your gifts? What are the areas that you thrive in, were given to you to help others? What are those areas? Focus on that. Get training on that. Learn more about that. Put it into practice. And remember that as you're continuing, there are going to be clients, business partners, opportunities, things that are attracted to you and the gifts that you bring and the talents that you have that you're not going to be able to even control. They're just going to come up because you have those gifts, those talents, those abilities that come naturally to you. So focus on growing that. And in your growth areas or your weakness areas, develop that when and as you can. But don't bog yourself down for the things that you are not skilled in that you feel that everybody else is skilled in. We all have our things. It's okay. Number 4, the business side of mental health that nobody tells you about. Now, for me, I wanted to make sure that I minored in business. That way I could have some level of understanding of the business side of things. I knew that was going to be important. However, there's still certain things that aren't as specific because if you're going to minor in business, there's only so much they can teach you. They can't really niche it down to business in therapy or business in mental health. So, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give any new therapist, whether you're working at a hospital, whether you're working with coworkers, whether you're starting your own business, whether you're working as a professor, we all need to understand the business side of things in one area or another. Why? You still need to know how to manage your finances. You still need to know how to manage taxes. If you're starting your own business, you need to know what fees you want to set, what rates you want to set. Do you want to take insurance or not? How do you apply for those insurances? How do you file insurance claims? How do you market yourself as a therapist? These are all important things that you need to know how to do. And you're not going to know how to do them because in mental health field, usually they don't train you for this. And if they do, it's a course or it's one semester of a class and that's it. That's not enough. So one tip I recommend is YouTube. Coming onto YouTube and finding videos that can actually go into depth about mental health professionals and those who are business owners and how they set their fees, how they structure their practice. There's a few of them. You can find them. But if you want me to make a video specifically on that, shoot your question down below and I'll be sure to make a video on this answering your questions. The next, podcast. Listen to podcasts from mental health professionals. I'll put a few up on the screen for you that I recommend and that I listen to from time to time. This will help you learn how to manage your finances, how to manage structuring your business, all of these things and more. Next, of course, is reading books on marketing yourself, on finances, on structuring your business and how to do this. These are all things that either they don't have time to teach us in school or they just don't teach us at school, but that doesn't mean that it's not our responsibility to learn it ourselves. So whether you're working for somebody else or not, whether you're your own business or not, the business side of mental health is still going to be important. Tip number 5 is taking care of your own mental health first. Again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You just can't. And if you can get away with it for long enough, eventually we all burn out because we try. Oh Lord, do we try. But eventually you burn out. And for some of us, we have to learn the hard way. For others of us, we learn from seeing others burn out and we're like, ooh, I do not want that. Hopefully you're the person who learns from listening. Do not burn out. Start with number 1 is having those boundaries in place. When are you going to work? And then when you don't work, how are you going to mitigate that? What are you going to turn off? What are you going to pause? For how long? These are specific questions that I want you to sit down and answer honestly. They may change over time. Things change. Accommodate, change, adjust. But make sure you're setting your own boundaries. Make sure that you're seeking your own mental health therapy because it's going to help you. You cannot take on different things from different people, whether that's energies, whether that's experiences that they've had that they're sharing with you, whether that's emotions that you're holding space for them. We do that for clients all the time. We hold space for them. We make sure they feel safe. We make sure that there's no judgment in place. That is part and a big part of our jobs. However, in order to be able to do that, you have to have a space where you receive that as well. So make sure you're setting those boundaries. Tip number one, make sure you're spending time with people that fill your cup, doing things that fill your cup of happiness, that fill your cup of joy, of peace. And with that, being able to release a lot of the things that are going on for you within your own personal therapy. Number six, understanding that we cannot help everybody. And this is something that I heard, but I didn't really understand it until I understood it. So let me help you as well. We cannot help everybody, and we shouldn't feel like we have to. That's the problem. Once again, if we're in the mental health field, usually most of us, our responses are we want to help people, we want to support people, we want to walk with people through the hardest times of their lives and help them get on the other side. That is a giver mentality. So it can be hard to switch off that helper and that support and that giver role mentality. You are one person. I am one person. I should not be expected to be able to help everybody else and still have enough for myself at the end of the day left over. That's not the way it works. You have to be able to help and support yourself, your family, the people that mean the most to you, and then you're able to give from a cup that's not empty to your clients, to your coworkers, to your business partners, to your goals that you have. And then you have to recognize these people in this situation, I cannot help, I cannot support, but who can? Can I help them find somebody who can help them? Number seven, do not underestimate the power of a niche. I know everybody talks about niches, but it is so important to have a specific concentration, a specialization, an area where this is my thing, this is my gift, this is my talent. It helps attract the right audience to you, the right clients to you when they know, hey, I'm going to this specific therapist because I know they specialize in ADHD. Or I know they specialize in bipolar disorders, or I know they specialize in something that I am in need of. I don't want to go to anybody else. This is the therapist for me. If you're able to help everybody, which we know from the last tip, we should not and cannot, then you don't stand out. You don't attract the clients that you also enjoy working with and get fulfilled working with within your career goals. So when you're able to niche down on what you actually enjoy doing and who it is that you want to help, that's going to be the most beneficial. Let's do a quick exercise to teach you how to do this. So I want you to close your eyes if you can, and I want you to imagine where you are. Are you in your office? Are you in a hospital setting? Are you training? Are you teaching? Are you doing research? What is it that you're doing? Who are you helping with what you're doing? What are the benefits that they're gaining from working with you, from using your product, from using your services? What are they gaining? And then how do you feel at the end of it, knowing that you helped support that individual or those people? Open your eyes. Those are the questions that are going to point you towards your niche, towards your specialization. Go towards that. Get training in that if you feel like you're not really meeting the standard for it. Get more education if you feel like you need to. That's how you start to get to what your niche is, what your specialization is, and who you need to help. And last, but certainly not least, is learning how to handle difficult situations without internalizing them. So there are times, for example, with clients, there are going to be sessions where the big emotions are coming up, whether that's big emotions of anger, big emotions of sadness, big emotions of hatred even, of jealousy, resentment, all those things. We're human. Those are emotions. What we do with them is what counts. But those are emotions. You as a therapist, me as a therapist, we cannot internalize those things. We just make space for the clients to be able to freely express those emotions and those thoughts. Because remember, a lot of times people come to therapy to be able to talk about the things that they necessarily can't talk with family about or partners about. So part of our responsibility is creating that safe space for them. Don't internalize that. That's their emotions. Those are their thoughts. You might feel like, oh, but it was just such a strong, it doesn't matter. That is their time to process. If you internalize those things, if you take it home with you and you don't actively work on not doing so, then that is on you. We're human. Sometimes we're going to feel like, ooh, ouch, is that directed towards me? And we have to assess, well, are there more follow-up questions you can ask to make sure? Or is it more of the client's big emotions coming out and them needing a place to process? Once you figure out which one it is, making sure that as a therapist, you say, when I walk out this door, everything stays in this office behind me. Or when I walk out of this classroom, everything stays in this classroom. I will not bring it home with me. When I walk out of this hospital, everything stays in this hospital. I will not bring it with me. That's not fair for you to bring with you. That's not going to help you to bring it with you. And if you are going to bring it with you, say that you're going to take it with you to your therapy session and you're going to process that. Or say that you're going to take it with you to your supervision and you're going to process it there, because we need an outlet as well. But internalizing it is not going to help you, it's not going to help your clients, and it's not going to be healthy in the long run. Remember, as helping professionals in the helping field, we need the help first and foremost because we take on a lot of the supporting role, a lot of the giving out role, a lot of the helping role. We have to have clear boundaries, especially if we're telling our clients to have and set boundaries as well. We have to learn to take time off, especially if we're encouraging that as well. We have to learn that not everything has to come back home with us, and that we can leave some things where they are and not internalize. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any other questions, please leave them down below and I'll be sure to make a follow-up video on them. And I'm going to encourage you to watch this video next.